You've tried to be everything for everyone, and yet some days you barely even recognize yourself. I've been there, especially this week. You've read the books, watched the reels, maybe even tried a few date night hacks. But deep down, you know it's not about them. It starts with you. That's what Chaya Garcia realized when she hit her own emotional edge. The healing didn't start in the relationship, it started in her reflection. Now she teaches women how to create an epic love by reconnecting the versions of themselves to being the one that buried under the obligation, the exhaustion, and the fear. If you've ever been feeling that craving for real connection, honest conversations, and permission to choose yourself, this is the episode for you. Welcome to the Mama Genius Preneur podcast, where real stories spark real transformations for moms ready to bring their visions to life. I'm Michelle DeKaiser, a mom of 3, entrepreneur, and your biggest cheerleader if you've ever felt pulled to create something bigger, whether it's a business, a book, or a movement, but also felt the weight of daily life slowing you down. You are not alone. In just 15 minutes, we'll dive into insights, strategies, and real stories for women like you. Let's bring your visions to life, starting now. Chaya Garcia is known as the epic love expert, a relationship expert, and a keynote speaker helping women heal the most important relationship they have, the one with themselves. As CEO and her relationship-focused company and the founder of Married 2025, Haya blends the emotional healing, radical responsibility, and real-world tools to help women experience deep connection at home in their business. She lives in Atlanta with her husband, Adam, and their children, Imuna and Evan. Welcome to the screen. I am so excited to have you on the podcast. I really just want to, I got to meet your husband. He was even setting up your tech and all that and everything behind it. I'd love to know, what's your why behind creating this for women to, I don't know if there was a problem that you had before with him or what it was. I'd love to know what your story is behind this.
Thank God my marriage is pretty epic. And I understand the power of having a healthy relationship. Having a healthy marriage impacts your health, physical health, mental health, spiritual health, as well as how you can show up for your children and your environment. If you don't feel safe in your most intimate space with your partner and in your home, it still eats away at you. And so what happened was, before I got married, I was in a relationship where I thought it was going great and I was so happy and we would see each other all the time. One day I got so excited. I made breakfast. I had the table set. I had something printed out for us to read together. And he comes into my house and into my space, kind of sluggish in the morning. And then he is so unexcited about everything I prepared. And he goes to tell me he's going to break up with me to go do drugs at a festival up north. The reason for the breakup is because I always said, I don't allow drugs. So if you're going to do drugs, it can't work with me. He was like, I'm done the lies. I'm done pretending. I'm telling her that I'm going up to do drugs and I'm ending this relationship. It was so painful because for so long it was like, pick me, want me, choose me, prioritize me, let our love be the leader of this relationship. But the truth is, I was sick and he was sick, and no one was aware of the illness because for him, doing drugs was normal at that age. We were in their 20s. For me, I was so successful on the surface. I had 2 degrees. I had my master's already. I was straight A's. I was fit. I was running. I had my own house and car. No one tells you that you're really sick if you are trying to control other people and your environment. And that's truly what I was. Everything was outside and external, and nothing was inside and internal, or very little. It was very reactive instead of in control. And so from that moment of pain when he broke up with me and I'm crying in fetal position, shocked, I had a moment of divinity where I was like, I can blame him. I didn't know I was sick then. By sick, I mean not physical, but mental. He's the addict. He chose drugs over me. What's wrong with him? He needs to change. He needs to see that relationships or love is more important than drugs and friends. But God blessed me with an ability and grace to ask myself, what about me and my belief systems and issues created this scenario? How, out of all the men, Is this the one in my room who just left me? How did I facilitate and create abandonment again? Because let's be real, the pattern that happened was not the first time. Once I was able to take full responsibility for my life, not be like, oh, he's the addict, he's stupid. It's obvious when people do drugs. It's not obvious when you're a codependent.
Right.
And I took full responsibility and I started my healing process of taking full ownership for my life. That's how the why happened, because no amount of pain should ever be tolerated if it's preventable.
Wow, you just had so many nuggets in there. And I wanted to review a couple of those. It was so impactful. Being able to feel safe in your space, in that intimate relationship and in your home. When you don't feel safe in that, that really does start to eat away from you. And then the idea of having to control everything. And let's be real, as mothers, there is this innate need to do that. But how far are you going with that? How much can you? That's what mounts the pressure when we feel that need to control and can't release it or delegate, and that kind of just drives you. Then I love how you said at the end, you took responsibility for what was going on. Let's break down that responsibility and how other people can start to take responsibilities for their choices as well. Are you a mompreneur who feels a fire to create something bigger, a business, a movement, a message, but you don't want to do it alone? That's why I've created the Mama Genius Hub, a space where your vision is nurtured, your voice is heard, and your dreams grow alongside a supportive community. Inside the hub, you'll get bite-sized insights and strategies in 15-minute sessions. A community of like-minded moms who truly get it. Support to bring your vision to life without burnout. If you're ready to build your business and impact while staying true to yourself, join us today at connectingmamas.com. Your calling matters. Let's grow it together. Well, I just want to dive straight into this because we're talking about relationships and marriage, but what do we need to do to really, again, I want to go back to the idea of feeling safe in that relationship and safe in your own home. Where do we start?
We start with taking full responsibility. Just because I did the work and I changed and rebuilt myself from the core before I got married, other people's souls have different journeys and they do it in marriage. So my marriage is great now, but some people listening might need to do that work in their marriage. And I still have to do the same work, even though I have a phenomenal partner. For everyone listening, step one is take full responsibility. It's so easy to say, I'm not happy because my husband doesn't. And fill in the blank.
That list can just go down, right?
Man, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, he doesn't do enough of this, he does this wrong, he does that wrong. And you're like, oh, if only he did, I would be so much happier. For a lot of people, addiction is still pretty rampant. So you would say, oh, if only he would stop drinking or stop watching pornography or stop smoking those cigarettes, then we would have so much more health in this family and I wouldn't have to worry all the time. But who's in control of your worry? Your safe space of what you create and allow, of what you tolerate. You. I had to learn it wasn't about his behavior, it's about what I am allowing and tolerating. I was wasting so much of my energy being codependent in the sense that I was like, when you shift, I'll shift. When you get better, we do it with our kids too. My 6-year-old, as soon as woke up, brushed her teeth first thing in the morning. I was like, oh, it's finally happening. I'm finally a successful mom. I didn't even have to ask her to brush her teeth. She just did it on her own. It was fantastic. But how much of my joy or pain is going to be allowed by me, facilitated by me, because of what I expect of the behavior of my children or my spouse? When I can remove my expectations and be like, they can be in a bad mood, they can smoke their cigarettes, and I can either leave the marriage if it's too much for me and not facilitating what I want my children to see, or I can get help until I learn how not to be reactive in a way that I am now just another component of the illness instead of detaching from the unhealthy dynamics.
I love that so much, how you rephrase that, the expectations I have of their behaviors. Because even when you said that with your daughter going to brush her teeth, it made me smile. Like, oh, there's so much more decisions and things that are going to come, and the frustrations and the things that come with motherhood. And it's so true how much you allow yourself to react or respond to those situations based on their behavior. It really does come down to how, when you're in a more joyful state and they do the same behavior that bothered you yesterday, but today you're not tired, you're not hungry, and that same exact behavior that they did has two different response or reaction regardless because of the way you felt.
100%.
So where do you suggest, let's focus because this one's specifically like about the marriage and stuff. I love how you brought up the idea of the husband and the list, right? What are some other ways that we first take full responsibility? After we take full responsibility, what do we do next?
We need to design our life. My primary client is a single woman before they get married, even though I work with all different types of women. You have to design your life instead of by default. For example, a single person, and you can apply this to your jobs if you're married. You can apply this to anything in life. You can either date by design or by default. So we can align and grow together instead of apart. You date by default and you're just like, he came into my life and he kind of treats me nice and he's kind of okay, but this bothers me, but I'll let it go and we'll just be together forever until I lost my identity completely. And then I'm too scared to leave him. So I guess we'll get married. In marriage, it's the same thing. Either you say, I want my marriage to be phenomenal, right? What does that mean? How do I design that? Well, I want to feel safe with him. I want to feel safe with myself. I want to not criticize myself and see my worth as so low that I'm angry with him all the time because I'm just angry with myself. When I'm angry with myself for not being good enough, doing enough, or having enough, I don't have the capacity to love him because I haven't had the capacity to love me. And he's just another thing that I need to love or manage or control or give energy to. I don't have enough energy for me because I'm draining it with my unconscious self-hatred, being so hard on myself that my marriage seems like a struggle instead of a safe space.
Oh, I love that. I love the idea of just creating what does safe space look like to you, taking note of what that looks like to you. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so let everyone know how they can get a hold of you.
Yes. First of all, you can connect with me by literally going to connectwithhaya.com. And Haya is my name. So Chaya. Connectwithhaya.com, which will send you to a booking link and you can hop on a call. You have questions. I might have answers. You're here listening to this for a reason. God synchronizes the world in perfect order. If you're struggling in your marriage, there's two options. One, you leave it if it's really that bad, not able to be fixed or healed, or you have tools that you can really heal and transform what your children grow up in, what you grow up in, the longevity of your life, and how you live. Because so many people live with physical illnesses because of their marriages that are so stressful. They get a blood clot, they get a pneumonia, they get things that are so stress induced because of all the reactivity. So to find me, just go to connectwithhaya.com and book a call. I'm on Instagram at Epic Love Expert and Facebook at Epic Love Expert.
I believe you had a free gift for the audience.
Yes, a free gift for the audience would be going to marriedin2025.com. It is primarily, again, for people who are not yet married, but you will see the exact signs of unhealthy behavior and how to shift them to healthy behavior. So, for example, being too other focused instead of self focused, misunderstanding attention for love. And you'll see those common dynamics. So, go into marriedin2025.com. The 2025 are numbers. So, married, MARRIEDIN 2025.com. And you'll get a bunch of freebies and videos, and we can connect there as well.
We're going to unpack that and bring you back in just a moment. That was a lot to take in. My notes are long today, so I'm going to do my best to break it down. Number one, let's get back to the idea of creating that safe space in your most intimate relationship and in your home. Because when you don't feel that safe space, again, it does cause all that stress and reduce and can cause all kinds of anxiety. Number two is that idea of control. Especially as moms, control can really lead to expectations and things of what we can do. But how can we release that a little bit is what we start to talk about. Number three leads us into the belief system of what about me? Taking responsibility for what you want and how you want to do it. And that's the first thing that we really need to do. We can create the list of if my husband did this, blah, blah, blah. However, it doesn't matter what they end up doing if you're not taking responsibility for things that you want and the things that you want to create. And that leads us into number four, which is really designing your own life. Instead of on default, now creating what is that list of the things you want? What does that safe marriage look like to you? Start picturing that. And again, we always talk about the RAS, or your reticular activating system on this podcast. If you start asking your brain to figure out what does safe look like to me, that is something you can start to design and create. We'd love to have your final takeaway today, Haya.
Love yourself. We only have the capacity to love other people based on how much we love ourselves. Like Michelle was saying, same behavior can happen with her kids, totally different reaction based on her mood. We are all just energetic beings. If you attach electrodes to our head, you'll see a bunch of frequencies come out. We're just electricity. We truly have vibrations. When you're angry, even when you cry, tears taste differently from sad cries to happy cries. We are powerful spiritual beings. And so love really is at the core of that, which means you don't criticize yourself for not doing enough, having enough, or being enough. You are enough. You have enough and you're doing enough, and love yourself and stay in that moment of enoughness and loveness like God loves you. So you can just enjoy life instead of waiting for that next thing to happen for you to finally feel like you're worthy of enjoying it, because you are worthy.
What a perfect note to leave this podcast on is just remembering you are enough. Mama, I hope you found something in these 15 minutes that sparked action towards your dreams. Remember, your purpose matters, your dreams are valid, and you are not alone. If today's conversation spoke to you, come join us at the Mama Genius Hub, where you'll find support, strategy, and sisterhood to turn your calling into real impact. Let's grow this together at connectingmamas.com. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. If this resonates with you, share it with another mom who needs to hear this. We'll see you next time.